So apparently in Portugal, I don't know if you guys are hearing about this, but my beautiful partner Andromeda Flame shared that in Portugal right now, there's a category 4, no power in Portugal. And let me look it up. Hurricane in Portugal, not just our country, but other parts of the world. It's called Kirk. And it's going through Spain, Portugal, and it's heading for France. More than 300,000 people without power. You know, we're going to have to wake up, okay? I can't. They've been seeding clouds since I was 5 years old in the 1960s. I used to watch them when I was a little girl, looking up, realizing they were seeding it. I don't know how I knew, but then again, we are all incarnated souls, right? We're not completely stupid as children. But I remember that. And they've been fucking with the weather for a long, 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 long time. And so we need to kind of realize that the energy of evil and greed and bullshit has to be overcome by our collective powers. Here we go again with manifesting. You those of you who are cynical, like, I don't have time to explain how the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. I can't. You guys need to go down the rabbit hole. Conspiracy theorists, okay, sadly, remember when COVID and the vac shit on us who are now purebloods because we didn't listen, but you thought we were kooks? Well, guess what? The shit's correct, okay? So now we have to look at what's happening with these hurricanes suddenly happening all over the place. Now, I've lived here a long time on this planet, and I have to say that, and I've been very informed watching the news throughout my life until I stopped, until it's important, which is today's an important day. And here they are. Who are they? Well, there is an agenda. And the agenda is being waged in many fronts. It's being waged in many fronts, and there's a lot of distraction. There's been a lot of attacks through the root chakra, through, I don't know how many of you know me or know the work that I do as a spiritualist, but I can tell you that if you guys continue not doing better as your own spiritual compass was given to you to actually think, yes, conspiracy theories and theorists were coined by the CIA so that most of you would actually walk away going, oh, they're just fucking crazy tinfoil hats thinkers. But the sad part is that from David Icke to Tucker Carlson to Candace Owens to Andrew Tate to Teal Swan, many of these people I've just mentioned, I actually don't particularly like, to be honest, but there is wisdom in all aspects, and they're all giving us information, and many of you who are cynics are deciding that you know better. So us, while the COVID was happening, what is the one thing they do when you have the big C after a massive operation? What do? They put you in a hyperbaric chamber. Why? Because it has oxygen. Why do you need oxygen? Because oxygen heals the cells. But they were putting masks on us. So now let's totally jump into what's happening with these hurricanes. Category 4 in Portugal, hitting Spain, moving into France. Category, look it up right now, Hurricane Kirk. You guys have all been looking at our shores. Got you. I know you guys are pissed off because FEMA's fucked pretty much everyone in this country. Always has, by the way. That shouldn't be news. They did it to Katrina. You would have thought we would have all learned collectively. We did learn individually. Many of us were called conspiracy theorists. But you see, us spiritualists who have believed in reincarnation since we could breathe, remembering everything, a lot of things that would scare the shit out of the average person. We remember what happened to Atlantis. We remembered why. We remembered by also reading things from channelers like Ruth Montgomery, like The Antediluvian World by Ignatius Donnelly, Atlantis, the Antediluvian Deluge. We've had really amazing, rebellious minds. And there are a lot of people right now who think that they're going to stand on the side of science. By the way, it's 3D science, not, okay? 100 years ago, quantum physics would have been laughed at as poppycock. And today, it's embraced. Don't trust 3D science. An egregore is a collective consciousness of a thought that is co-created by the collective minds of a certain group of people for harm or good. Now mix that in with the science of fucking with the weather for, I don't know, 50 years, more than that. And realize that there is an agenda to kind of clean the planet by the 1%. So now, what do you do with everything I've just said? A lot of shit. May sound like word salad to you, but then again, I'm not for you. And the 3D world that you want to live in is turning into Mad Max unless you put on your tinfoil hat proudly and theorize as to how we can get out of this debacle. The ascension was written about in the Old Testament. Revelation, actually. The meek shall inherit the earth. The meek. I'm going to repeat myself. Sorry, you guys who know me. The meek are the ones who want peace. The shamans, the poets, the philosophers, the peace bringers, the peacemakers. Those who want abundance for everyone. The meek. The peacemakers shall inherit the earth. But how do we do that? Because we have a divine appointment and we can actually decide what we're going to do moving forward. And so it's important for you guys who believe in reincarnation, who believe in your own high priestess, high priest, shamanic past lives where you did good and you did evil. Let's be honest. Don't be afraid of your power, though, because you're not who that you were before when you misused power, corrupting the power that you were given. We all have magic. We've proven it time and time again. When Australia burned, and again, I'm repeating myself, there was a group of people that organized a mass meditation for 10 minutes on a particular day, and they had broken down all of the timelines. You know, Sydney was at 4 o'clock, Hong Kong was at 5, you know, you get my drift. And the meditation brought rain within hours. The 1% has always known that about us. That if they can control us through on our knees as a collective, and we believe in the egregore of poverty and lack, controlling us through fear, we would use that as our own egregore to subjugate ourselves without chains around our necks, around our wrists, and around our ankles. We would do it ourselves, and willingly. And it was done using many religions, the last religions of 2,000 years. So what's my point to all this? My point is now I need you to now go within yourself and pull out the strength you have, the multidimensional light. If I were to tear your body down and all that stood in front of me was your light, it would be sparkling and shiny like electricity, blue, white, gold, violet. It would be levitating above me. That is your true essence. And because you're a multidimensional light being, you can actually create anything you want. The monkey mind is what has kept you from creating on the spot. Because the monkey mind is always tripping you up. When you get into 5D, and especially into 6D, that is no longer the issue. If you want a table, there's the table. If you want it to be a white table, there it is. Whereas in the 3D, if you want a table, it might come out as a frog. Because your mind collided, your monkey mind collided with what you were trying to co-create. I'm trying to teach you something very, very quickly because we have very, very little time. Because we have hurricanes manifesting out of nowhere from the 1%. Whether it's done through seeding and fucking around like the Atlanteans did. We know what happened with Atlantis. We know what we did with these factions, these corrupt factions. We saw the end result. So now we have to individually, on the daily, step out in the sky and look at the sky if you can. If not, visualize the sky. Go look at a map of these hurricanes. And then dissolve them. Dissolve them. Now, if you want to do it with me now, we can do it together. But then moving on, until this shit's done, we have to do it on the daily. Maybe in the morning and at night. On the daily. I'm begging you. Because if we don't, we are consenting by the apathy of our non-action. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? So it's all hands on deck. Okay? This is not a tarot reading. This is not entertainment. Okay? This is like a moment of shamanic warriors, light beings coming in. There's all kinds of things you've heard about in the last week. You've seen the corruptness of our government, of this administration, the lesser of two evils. We could go on and on and on. But there's something higher than that even directing traffic, and we better start getting really serious. We're throwing away names around like BlackRock, Vanguard, and all of that shit. We could go on and on to break down what's been going on and what many of us who are conspiracy theorists have been watching from the sidelines in horror. It's like watching a train wreck, but the train wreck never stops. There's more trains wrecking into these walls. And so, with a heavy heart that's turning light, I want you to create an egregore of the new earth. Now, if you don't know what an egregore is, I need you to go look it up and maybe even buy a book. Here, let me see if I can find the book. And again, cynicism has no place here. You want to live in the corrupt planet and actually say, well, that's just the polarity. That's just our polarity. That's not fucking polarity. This is fuckery. Let's understand the difference. There's polarity, light and dark. There's polarity. Polarity is not feminine and abundance. That's not polarity, my friend. Stop letting fake prophets tell you how this shit works. Because before there was the 1%, we thrived. We thrived as a people. Before the egregore of the 1% in Atlantis, we thrived. We had a golden age. Okay? And so we also have many, many wonderful voices out there, on TikTok in particular, that have wonderful messages that are being that are being shared in different ways. There's 3D messages that are in the light, meaning showing the fuckery of the $750. But now we need to step out of our egoic connection to just this country and look at it globally. And not feel like we don't have the power to create the egregore that the 1% created on our necks with their thoughts of how to suppress us. Do you understand that there are governments who have been studying China? I won't say that word again. On how to suppress an entire people without really doing anything psychologically. And so you need to break out of your fucking brainwashing. I'm sorry. And start believing in your power to change weather. There are children I've spoken to, children that have played with moving waves on a little river stream or in the ocean. I'm going to be honest with you. I used to do that shit when I was 14. I used to play with the ocean and ask it to give me bigger waves so I could body surf. And then I would want it to calm down and it would calm down. And then I would play again. And I thought it was a game. We've all have that skill. No one is above the other. The difference between me and people like me and you is you forgot and I remembered. It's the only difference. There's no other difference. So, an egregore is a non-physical entity that is thought to be created by the shared thoughts, emotion, belief, and intention of a group of people. The word comes from the Greek word gregore, which means to be awake or to watch. Well, guess what? Unlike us, most of us, the 1% have been awake to how to control. How do you fucking control 99% of the planet? You know what was funny about the lockdown, just on the side note, and we're going to go right into the hurricanes? Is that they thought, it's almost like a fucking, like, I bet you $1. It reminds me of Trading Places. Remember the movie Trading Places? It's a game to them. I bet you we can lock them all down in 3 weeks. And we can do it for as long as we want. And we can put muzzles on them. The very thing that they need, which is oxygen. I'm watching people walking down the streets, power walking with a mask on their face. The very thing that heals is oxygen. Why do you think we do pranayama? It's called oxygen. Yeah, I bet you $1 I can get them to fucking totally be afraid of each other and stand 6 feet apart in a supermarket, but be stuck in an airplane, elbow to elbow. I bet we can do that. I bet you can. I bet you can't. Double bet. And they did it. You better start seeing how they fucking see us. We are breeders and eaters. No more, no less. And workers. So there's another theory between why they've outlawed Roe versus Wade. There's another reason behind that. So if the word awake, which is egregore, right? The word awake. Well, it sounds to me like these particular sect of people, the 1%, have used their awakeness of how to control a mass of people with ease. And that means that we have to wake up to create our own egregore of the new earth. That means the planet is balanced. The weather is always calm. We don't say we reject the storm because we already know, those of us who know how to manifest, we already know that it's saying we do not accept the storm, they hear the storm. So what we say is the weather is always calm. The ocean is an ally of us. It's always calm. The waves are in perfect harmony with us and our needs. The winds are always balmy and good. The clouds are always in perfect harmony with the sky and the ocean and the earth. And that's how we actually bring about this shift. And we're going to have to do it individually because we can't constantly always get together and do a guided meditation. It's not going to work that way. Do you get me? But if more and more of us start actually having the same desire, it's a domino effect. And what's amazing in the excuse me, I've been getting sick over this fucking energy. The documentary called The Secret and I repeat myself, and I wonder how many of you have ever really watched the documentary. Oh, I watched it 20 years ago. Time to watch it again. Because she talks about, Rhonda Burns talks about how the 1% kept these secrets to themselves. You see the Egyptian coming out with the emerald tablet, Thoth's emerald tablet, as above, so below, so on, so forth, talking about how we can manifest. That's what Yeshua could do. Yeshua was a manifester. And he had controlled his monkey mind so he could manifest exactly what he wanted. There are a lot of people that have compared Yeshua to Bacchus, Dionysus, to Osiris. The interesting thing about our planet, it's a holographic universe, and souls come and repeat the same process. It doesn't mean Yeshua didn't walk. I've always known Yeshua is real. And what we've done with allowing what's happening to the Palestinian people, what we haven't thought of, because we don't think, especially many of the Christian coalition fanatics that believe this is a righteous thing to do, to remove the limbs of babies and children, and it's okay to do all that, including the raping of men and women and children. Anyway, is that in this Geno, we have destroyed, most likely, because, Yeshua was a carpenter and he had family and cousins and aunts, and his mother had sisters. We know this, right? Okay, so whatever genetic material was still around, walking in one of these souls out there, we've probably destroyed. I'm pretty sure we've destroyed it. Pretty sure, well, whatever was left of Yeshua, it's fucking gone in the material sense. But the good news is that if Yeshua walked on the planet today to come back as a lion, as many of have prophesied, which there's no way he would ever come back. Why? Because none of us would fucking believe it in the first place. Let's be honest about our own cynicism. Is that we have been downloaded the Christ code in ourselves. And so we are fractal pieces of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. It is within our soul's DNA, for the lack of a better way of expressing it. We have been activated. And with that, we may not walk on water, but we can control the water. We may not be able to float in the sky, but we can control the sky. And it's something the Native Americans knew how to do, as well as the Druids in the Celtic place, the Gaelics, parts of Africa, parts of Asia, Tibet. They all knew how to do it. And we have forgotten our ability to control the elements because we have lost our respect. When was the last time you put your forehead in obeisances to Pachamama when you got upon her body? When was the last time you laid down on her body, head in obeisances to her, and apologized for every incarnation where you misused her land and raped her children and killed her children? Both human, fur-finned, and winged. When was the last time? Have you ever? So it's time for you to make repairs. Okay? We're all responsible for what's happening, sadly. All of us are responsible because we have been a people who have clung to our apathy and our comfort, and now we're being pushed to our own ascension, kicking and screaming. What I like about the 3Ders and the preppers is they realize that they cannot rely on the governments. It's actually, there's a wisdom to that one. But what they don't know is how to use the energies as their allies. You and I have 100 light beings. I've seen them by the oceans that I ran on, the beaches, the mantras, the prayers, the meditations. I was able to part the veils for seconds to see them. You have them too. And because you can't see them doesn't mean they don't exist. You may not believe in the unseen, but I can tell you one thing. If I took the oxygen out of your room right now and sucked it all out in 10 minutes, you would not be here on this planet anymore. So you believe in that. Though you can't see oxygen, nor can you bottle it right now. You can't. But if I took it out, you would see the impact, the negative impact upon your body. And now you'd be a believer of the unseen. So now it's time for you to stop the bullshit. Stop gaslighting yourself. Get off your fucking knees and stand and demand from your ego to shut the fuck up so you can step into your light. And in stepping into your light, you will force this power barreling out of you that will come out in a primal scream, in a prayer, in a mantra, in light language, to co-create with the universe a weather pattern, a system that generates calmness in the skies. Diluting. And you may say, well, it's too late. Or you may say, well, what if it doesn't work? Then this doesn't work. I would say to you, be like a toddler who learns how to walk. Would the toddler say, well, Mom, I just can't seem to walk. I keep falling. Just give me a wheelchair. I'm done with this shit. Learning how to walk doesn't work. How many times does the toddler learn how to walk? How many times does he fall or she falls? 1,000? 1,000,000 times in a year of learning how to walk? Does the toddler quit? Or does it marshal on to learn how to walk and eventually kick the ball and eventually learn how to run? It's never too late. And there's never a time of failure. Don't ever fucking give up. Ever. In this vision of us being able to connect so deeply with the universe. That when we say make it rain, it rains. And when we say make it stop raining, bring the sun, it listens. We were once a people who could do that with ease. And we've forgotten how to do it. And we have been brainwashed through the egregores created by the 1% to believe in absolutely nothing. And then to cement that, the root chakra was kidnapped in multiple ways by the 1%, which would calcify the third eye, the pineal gland. The heart chakra is you connecting to your divinity and to do all you can to parent that inner child that you've never really spoken to or taken care of because of whatever trauma you had in your root. We've allowed a lot of bullshit for many incarnations. We have sought God through becoming nuns and monks. We have done so many things to try to also show the truth. And we were punished for it by the 1%. Mark my word, it wasn't God, the universe, that punished us. It was always the 1% because we went against their agendas. So fear also rocked our root chakra into being clamped, very similar to like a chastity belt, if you've ever seen one. And so now we are being shown massive catastrophes to either be complacent and apathetic or to rise off our knees to claim our powers back, to shift this energy and claim what we were originally given when we first took incarnation on this planet as druids, druidesses, high priests, high priestesses, shamans, and so forth. So, it's really simple. What do you want? You might not know what you want personally, but I know you want one thing. I know you want an easier life. And they're not making it easy. And if you think this can't happen to you, think again. We sat for over 365 days watching what happened to the Palestinians. And many of you went out in the streets and protested. Many of you reposted. Many of you lost friends. In fact, the whole beginnings of losing friends began in the COVID lockdown. They think we're trained like dogs. And we're not. And we need to move as a pack of wolves. And if you've ever really studied wolves, you know exactly what I mean. We move as one. We protect the elderly. We protect the young. And we as alpha wolves move in force as shamans. You can't win this in a 3D Mad Max way. I hope you get this. Do you understand? It doesn't last. You and I have been warriors before. We have won battles that lasted 1, maybe 2 generations, and it went back to the bullshit. It doesn't work. So we have to use the energies we know how to manifest the new earth. We have no choice. Right now, it's all hands on deck to marshal all of our powers to dissolve these hurricanes. Hurricane Kirk, going from Portugal to Spain to France. Hurricane Milton to the shores of Florida. And the fuckery is that I just saw the arm of a young man in Tampa, because they said, if you want to stay, write your name and your relatives on your arm in permanent marker. Do you know what was on his arm? The day he was born and his full name and his nickname on his arm. Looked like what I saw with the Palestinians. Do you remember that? They're training us to think that this is what we want, that we don't want to survive and thrive. They're showing us the culling. This is not a joke, Hunger Games, okay? Let's not start fucking acting like this is the Hunger Games, like this is how it's going to be, because that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of people that should know better who are accepting and embracing, well, it's the Hunger Games, District 5, District 7, District 8. Oh, by the way, on the side note, did you realize that the districts were segregated by race? Did you notice that too? Not an accident, my friend. The psychology of brainwashing is actually very overt. It's not that covert if you pay attention. But you need to actually put on your tinfoil hat. Throw a crystal on a fucker and start meditating kumbaya, do pranayama, and ask your guys, what the fuck am I supposed to do right now? And they'll tell you, if you really fucking listen and you don't gaslight yourself, they'll actually tell you what to do. They'll actually give you instructions. But your monkey mind will come sliming in, because that's the entity, the parasitical entity that's been trained by the 1% using egregores to create fear, to create self-loathing, to create lack of self-belief, lack of self-worth. I don't matter. Nothing matters. I can't do shit. I don't matter. The one doesn't matter. I think we've had some pretty intense generals and kings. Should I give you a list? Alexander the First, Eleanor of Aquitaine, Cleopatra, Mark Antony, Caesar, Napoleon, the one with a little mustache. Should I go on? One person fucked people or helped people. Joan of Arc. One person. We're all fucking important. If we believe that we can do this. I know I can do it, and I will do it. But the more the merrier. The more power, the more power. Do you realize that, I'm using the word loosely here, New Agers, there's about, I think, 500 million of us. And I use the word loosely because New Agers are corrupt as fuck, just as corrupt as many Catholics and Protestants and Muslims and but Buddhists, and you got the list, right? You can see they're corrupt. About 100 million of us actually believe in our powers. We believe without arrogance. We're constantly slapping our arrogance down, constantly fucking being humble, because we know that it was our arrogance that created us to use power and corrupting other people with our power. When we were shamans, quite often, when we were magicians and so forth, we did do it for the wrong reasons. And there's a part of us that's still there in the back of our brain, somewhere in the dark shadows, that is completely terrified of using the powers that we have. We know we have them. I had to go through that. So we don't really have time to get you up. You don't have 10 years, my friends. You have a few months. Because if we don't get this shit on the road now, if you think this was a bad year, if you think 2020 was a bad year, you have no idea what's about to come next year. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, because maybe some people need a real fucking beating before they wake up. Just saying. But I can tell you this, that they know that many, and I'm going to talk to you as Americans, many of you Americans have been moving to Portugal, to Spain, to France. What was the American dream? Is to leave it? And isn't it ironic, of all the places? Interesting, don't you think? Is this a conspiracy theory, or are you like getting on the bandwagon here that pretty much David Icke, all these guys, he's the one that comes to mind constantly, because he's been fucking blowing the horn for fucking decades, and he was witch hunted. And sadly, damn near everything he said has come to pass. Do you think he wants to be right? He didn't want to be right. So what we have to do now, okay, is if you want us to do a guided meditation now, if you want to do it on your own, but I'm going to ask you to do it every fucking day. I want you to do a micro meditation, 5 minutes, and I want you to look at the weather and just speak to the elements and say, you are my ally. You are calm. You bring me what I need. I'm so grateful for the peace and calm that you bring to all across the world. Don't say there's no hurricanes. Don't say that. Don't say there's no storms or floods. Don't say that. Because now you're bringing that in. You want to say, I am so grateful for the calm waters. I am so grateful for the calm skies and clouds. I'm so grateful for everything being so peaceful. And the elements protect me and those and in the entire world. And we have enough. and we are abundant, and we are at peace. And that's what we're going to have to do. And if you think that this is kumbaya bullshit, then please keep scrolling. I'm so happy you guys are here. You are right. I noticed that the stress keeps you overthinking in your head. When you get out of it, is so much peace. Women, you are literally Storm from X-Men. Meditate and figure this out. I'm watching people use telekinesis constantly, then speaking with them to find out how genuine their souls are. What else? Thank you for that. So, I would love anyone to, like, if you're, Rachel, if you're here, great. If you want to talk about something, if you want to bring something up, feel free. Good morning. I'm sorry about so. Anything else that I can share with you? Anything you want to know? So I do something crazy where, because when we do a collective talk, we've been talking about the fuckery of our administrations, our leaders, and so forth. What I find interesting is President Macron decided to pull all arms, all aid to, that little blue and white team that keeps fucking up, BB. And he pulled, and suddenly there's a fucking hurricane coming into Portugal, Spain, and France. Come on. You can't. How convenient. How fuck, what are we, dumb? Are we really going to believe and just keep drinking the Kool-Aid? Just keep, lobotomizing your fucking soul. Let's just keep doing that. Don't do that. Don't fucking do that, okay? So I'm going to pull out some oracle cards. We're going to get some messages. There's so much shit I want to fucking share with you guys. You have no idea. My mind is reeling when my beautiful partner, my buddy, my Doc Holliday, told me they're having Hurricane Level 4 called Hurricane Kirk hitting Portugal, Spain. And yes, we've got Hurricane Milton. And yes, we have what happened to the Carolinas and the Appalachian Mountains. And we got to see the dog and pony show of the administration, while we have senators saying, well, but what of our friends is Israel? They need our money. They need our help. Can you fucking believe that? With a straight face. The guy's still a senator. That's all I'm saying. So, what do you want to see? I need your mind to just expand exponentially. I want you to go back to Atlantis before it was the fuckery that it began from these greedy sect of reptilians that took over Atlantis. What do you think you want? Well, what was going on in the golden age of Atlantis? What was going on in Lemuria? Go back to that and replicate it here with the understanding that we will never regress. Once we cross these bridges of ascension, there's no going back, because the bridges will collapse behind us as we move from one ascension point to another. We will never regress. I was in meditation today and I was told many of us will never regress again. Once we're in 560, we're fucking, after that it's just, you keep going. Please don't look back at those who are clinging to 3D. There's nothing you can do. I don't care if it's your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, your own child. Yes, I'm fucking being hard. They will catch up. There will be new bridges laid out. But for us, as we cross, they will collapse. Yes, they will. And new bridges, new portals will be open for the next batch to ascend. Does that make sense? You're welcome. Okay? Milton is a category. This is, yeah, I know. We can, our exercise, right? Please listen to this whole live about what I said about toddlers and learning how to walk. If we are not able, let's just say, right? It just keeps barreling in. Milton, Kirk, they just do their fucking business, right? Let's just say. Please don't see it as a failure of your own powers, of our powers collectively in creating an egregore. It's going to be a while. It might be an instant in human perspective or a while in human perspective to create the egregore, the new egregore that becomes the new earth. Does that make sense? So it's not, oh fuck, that didn't work. It's kind of like you. Let's take it back to you guys. You wanted a house. or a job you really want, or a lover you really want, and you just manifested and you did the 369 and it didn't come. And many of you, instead of saying, thank you, universe, there's a reason for this. There's a reason why I'm not getting this. It's because X, Y, and Z, right? Sometimes you'll never know exactly why. Sometimes you'll actually see the shit show of what the universe protected you. Something as simple as losing your keys, not getting into your car for an hour. You're like late. You can't find your fucking car keys. You're like, fuck it. I just can't believe it. I got to cancel this appointment. I'm going to be late for work. And guess what? There's a fucking accident. You avoided a major accident. Or sliding on black ice. You don't know. You'll never know. Sometimes you never will know, actually. And so when disasters are not able to be diluted, dissolved, maybe more people need to get so fucking pissed off that they wake up. It's a massive slap in the face and a punch in the gut. For many of you, 2018 was the wake-up call. Some of you, it took 2020, the lockdown, the masking, the bullshit you read. Many of you became journalists, boots on the ground journalists, and actually were pulling out your phones and using it for what it was meant to do. Not to show the new fucking dance step, but to actually show the fuckery. Many people now on video are showing all kinds of abuses and injustices. And so we're learning how to walk as a people. We're like toddlers. And now we need to go back into ourselves in our light, in using pranayama, chakra healing. I'm not joking. These are things. It's kind of, how do you learn how to read? One letter at a time. How do you learn how to become a master psychic to change the fucking weather? One chakra at a time. One meditation at a time. One download at a time. Do you understand? Do not give up. Okay? Do not give up. All right? Because if you do, you have just handed your throat, your children's throat, on the chopping block of the 1%. Yes, that's right. Okay? It's no fucking joke. So now we're going to pull out a card from Kali, Oracle. I think it's appropriate. And we're going to see. We're going to see what the messages are, okay? And again, this is not entertainment, my friends. I'm telling you. I just bought 2 books. One is a book, Mysteries the Crystal Skulls Reveal, which talks about Atlantis. Interviews with the Crystal Skulls, which we have crystal skulls. I don't know if you guys know that. We have crystal skulls buried by the Pleiadians, the Atlanteans, to keep the grid. The crop circles are a representation of the, it's not UFOs landing, honestly. I never believed it. And then it came to me when I saw a plate of sand. I'm repeating myself. Sorry for some of you guys. I said this last night. A plate of sand, right? You've got this metal plate with sand on top. It's just pure sand. Look it up. And then underneath they do a frequency sound. It's all geometric pattern. It is Pachamama, Mother Earth, co-creating, showing crop circles. And then they disappear, and then they reappear somewhere else, and they disappear, and they reappear. Usually 75% are at the heart chakra of the planet, which is in the United Kingdom, in England. Okay, so when you fuck with the planet, again and again, thinking you're gods, which is what they did in Atlantis, basically, a lot of these MFers are reincarnations. You realize that, right? Of the same bastards who did this shit last time. You realize that, right? They've returned. It's a rerun. It's a fucking rerun, basically. So when people say, well, it's global warming. Okay, yeah, but who created global warming? Who created that? You can't keep blowing up bombs in the ocean and not think there's going to be a tsunami. You can't keep fucking with the planet, fracking, whatever it's called, and not think there's an end result. I mean, it's like fucking ridiculous. So however you want to claim it, well, it's just global warming. Well, global warming is being created. Well, it happened with the dinosaurs. Well, I hate to say this to you, but the planet was actually forming, evolving, becoming. Okay, and no matter what you believe in the dinosaur paw prints and the human feet next to it, if you want to believe in that theory or not, it's up to you. It's really up to you. But I will say is that we have done massive damage to Pachamama, Bhumi, Gaia, Mother Earth. And at the end of the day, okay, at the end of the day, we as souls, do you understand? I do Akashic readings. I just did a hypnotherapy session with an amazing woman in Norway. Amazing soul. Who went from 28th dimension. These new agers that think they know fuck it. This is why I refuse to use that word anymore. I call it ancient wisdom. We need to call it ancient wisdom. Why? Because it's fucking ancient wisdom. There's nothing new about it. And she went from the 28th dimension. There was no fall. It was, I want to experience this, that, and the other in Egypt. It was like, okay, 7th dimension. All right, I want to experience this. But in the 20th dimension, there was a collective of one thought, different bodies, but one thought, which I had seen in a meditation in 2018, not 28th, 23rd dimension, same shit. All bald, all sent beings in, I'm going to say carbon matter, it looked like it to me, but something else. And one conscious thought, homogeneous, meaning everyone looked the same, thought the same, and created life form through energy, manifestation. That's how they created themselves. And then would decide, I'm just going to walk through this portal and go into 10th D or 7th D, or I want to do this. The planet is forming. I like that planet. It's interesting. It's very diverse. And the 1%, the very thing we have that many of these species on other planets don't have, diversity, black, brown, red, yellow, pink, white, whatever, however, is the very thing the 1% knew they could use against us. And it started all the way back with the Greeks. Herodotus was a racist. Believe it or not. Differences that should have made us fascinating by each other, which, by the way, it does for many people. It is a fascination. In fact, one of the things about twins is that it's quite often that it happens that they're from different cultures, different races, and different age opposites. The woman's older by 15 years, the man's older by 15 years. One's white, one's black, one's biracial, one's Chinese, one's not. It's fucking insane. And the very thing that they've used against us to supplicate us, to make us ashamed to desire another person of another kind. I saw in an Akashic reading a Pleiadian marrying an Atlantean woman. He was Pleiadian. She was Atlantean. They weren't the same, species, technically speaking. And there came hybrids of this incredible loving union. This was during the Golden Age. So we need to start reclaiming all of it from the 1% who are reptilian, aka draconian, who are Atlanteans returned, the factions that were evil, disgusting, playing with genetics and weather. You know this, right? Don't you know this? Have you not studied? Have you not read the books? Atlantis, the Antediluvian World by Ignatius Donnelly was written in the 1870s, proving, which was corroborating what Plato had said. Plato, what does he give a fuck? He wasn't trying to prove anything. He was just documenting shit that he had heard through the grapevine. No myth, real truth. Like Homer with Troy, when Troy was considered a myth until it was found, literally found in the 1800s by a millionaire, German scholar, millionaire. So my point is that we don't need to figure out where it was. We need to bring back the golden age of Atlantis when they were living in harmony with the Lemurians, with the Pleiadians, with other sentient beings from other planets, and there was no bullshit. It was beautiful. It was at peace. The elements were respected. And little by little, after the deluge, right? There were pockets, because there's this weird idea that we all plummeted into 3D after Atlantis dropped. And that's not what happened. Tibet was still 5D, 6D. The Ireland and parts of the UK still 5, 6D. France, Africa, parts of Asia, parts of, South America, Canada, the Americas. We're calling them those names now because that's the names we use, but land masses that shifted, that no longer exist anymore, and so on and so forth. So that's what we're being asked to do. We're being asked by the universe because we have free will, and it has been a double-edged sword. Do you understand that when someone takes their life, it isn't the soul saying, let's get the fuck out of here. It's the ego, the parasitical ego saying, I do not matter. No one loves me. I don't care. I hate myself. That's what destroys us. And with the same type of passion, we need to reclaim this planet. It doesn't matter if we never come back. But I'll be damned if the 1% wins with their allies, with the draconians. I'll be damned. And so should you. There are people that have literally changed the face of this planet. There are 2 couples whose names, shame on me for not remembering their names, who in their lifespan have planted trees and created a whole ecosystem, just 2 people. And there was a man who bought an island who's in his 70s who planted trees on that island. In other words, the individual, and we've been shown that again and again, but my God, the self-loathing that we have been taught to embrace, like a blanket with thorns, has been well done by the 1%. Don't think. Remember the Matrix, Neo? The apathy. Remember Wanted, the movie with Angelina Jolie and that, I forgot the actor's name, who's Irish. Remember his apathy, his self-hate, his self-loathing, his despair, and him realizing that he was important, he had powers. It's funny how they have to give us those movies because it is a spiritual law. If you're going to fuck these people over, at least give them a fucking rope. And most of us have not grabbed that rope of knowledge. Does that make sense? Okay, enough me. All right, let me look at this. We have the technology to transform our planet just sitting in those rich people's houses. But we, most importantly, are the technology. Don't you get that? We are the technology. My son didn't evacuate. He's in Tampa. God bless your soul, Star. I'm so sorry. Recycle and clean. We should always celebrate the earth. Yes. Rise above the ashes of our own self. Yes, bravo. Rise above the ashes of our own selves. Beautiful line. You should write that down. Or screenshot that, you guys. That's a hell of a line. Because that's where we're at. Whether or not you want to do this or not, if you actually think if you're going to go back to your routine and think, well, that's just, it says in Revelation that, the apocalypse is coming and all that shit. No. It's not the apocalypse. It's the world as you know it is ending. Thank fucking God. You want to keep having these 1%? Do you realize why we had Robin Hoods and stories like that? To help the people, the common people, feel like there was hope somewhere. Fuck. Do you know why Constantine removed reincarnation out of the great book, as they call it? Because people were unaliving themselves going, I don't want to be a slave. I don't want to be a farmer. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be pregnant, unmarried. I don't want to be judged. I don't want to live like that. I don't want to live like this. So I'll take the new life. I'll just get out of here myself. I'll escort myself out of this planet. And that's what was happening. Do you realize that? That's why Roe versus Wade is an interesting thing. A senator came out. It's on document. It's actually, I didn't hear about it or read it. I saw him say it. What did he say? Pregnancy is going down and we need more workers. I swear to fucking God, I'm not lying. So there are a lot of things that they want. Many of the people that are being brought here, right? You guys are yelling immigrants. It's all over the world. Is they need people that have trauma, that are so hurt by colonialism, and I could go on, that they are passive, they can be controlled, they can be trained into docility. We're not those fucking people. And If we can manifest the new earth, like I know we can, in fact, it's been written by many, many, many ancient scrolls, books, then we can hopefully also help these people wake up as well, or not. But I can tell you one thing: you better wake up to your own powers. So let's go right into the energy of the Kali Oracle. Let's see what she has to say. It's a powerhouse, and actually today I do want you to choose. I actually do want you to choose. So I need you to pick top, bottom, or middle. I know we are protected, our bloodline, but this is going to be a challenge. Not to worry. We have okay. If I were you, I would totally bring Angel Michael, Archangel Michael, and see the blue, Archangel Metatron. Bring him into Archangel Metatron's realm, protection. Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Raphael, and like two bodyguards in front, two bodyguards behind you, walking with you with every step you take. And you should do, all of you should do that as a daily. Before your feet hit the floor from your bed, you should be doing that. Angels, guides, allies, I give you permission to guide me in word and action and protection. Then place them two in front, two in the back, and just feel their protection. They are multi-dimensional light beings on the level of you can't fucking express. In other words, they can be at one time in 1 billion homes. We can be on that level as well, believe it or not. Maybe not 1 billion, but definitely 100 million. Us, you, me. That's why, I'm going to give you an example. That's why when somebody passes and you're holding their hand, you can say to them, I'm right here. I'm holding your hand. It's going to be okay. But I'll be on the other side to welcome you home. That is a truth. That is a truth, because we have concurrent incarnations. We can be in multiple places. They've even made movies, I'm not joking, about that very fact. Okay? All right, let's go. Top. Okay, so I'm holding my tears up. I hear you. Actually, let your tears flow so that you can release it, so that you don't bend up your heart. Let your tears flow, star. Okay? You're not doing anything great by holding your tears. Just go ahead and let it flow. Let it all flow, and thank the universe for the protection of your son. Sage him remotely, if you don't mind. Sage him remotely. Sage yourself first, then sage him remotely. Then call, and then see yourself walking and talking and laughing with your son. Okay, as if it's happening now. Everything needs to be present, 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 present. Okay, so you said top. How many said top? It looks like there's top. Jennifer, top. Okay, let's go ahead, guys. Top. Okay, I'm gonna just do it. It's 41. Okay, let me explain to you what 41 is. 41 is 5, and 5 is magnetic communication. It's Mercury, actually. It's speed. It's fast communication with the public. Okay, so let's look at what it says. And it is a two-headed man with the turbans on his head, and he has a sitar, and he has fire behind him. Okay, and I must have pulled that card in 10-9-21. Holy fuck! What? Hang on. What? Is today the 9th? Hang on. Oh my god, you guys, on 10-9-21, because when I pull cards for myself, I'll date it. On 10-9-21, 2021, I pulled this card. So the card was pulled. Holy fuck. Okay, let's read it. Okay, so this is 41 Krishnu. There is a spiritual intelligence within your soul. Did you hear that? I'm reading it again. There is a spiritual intelligence within your soul. It is the genius of becoming, of ripening from potential into glorious manifestations. Intimate communion with your own heart will reveal what it is truly yearn for and set the process in motion for that yearning to be satisfied. The holy fire of Kali, and she is within your soul. Follow the yearning, seek the light, let yourself burn brightly for what inspires you, and you shall see the path to fruition clearly before you. Believe in what is meant to be. Okay, listen to me. I know you all have your own personal desires, but if these hurricanes keep happening because these 1% MFers, It doesn't matter what you want, okay? So the first thing we need to do is connect with our teams of like beings. Many of you have the power to actually meet with the Galactic Council. I'm not joking. Many of you already have the power to change weather. I know who you are. Many of you have played with weather. You've brought rain. You've made the winds come and go. I know you have. So now it's time not to play anymore, okay? All right, let's continue. The name Krishna translates to as you are fire. Agni is the two-headed deity of fire and a potent symbol of supernatural power. Did you hear that? Supernatural power. We've always had it. The 1% knows this, and they've been using it against us by our own apathy as an egregore of negativity. Okay? On the physical level, fire generates light and heat to cook food, thereby representing both transformation and nourishment of this life force. The inner digestive fires that metabolize the food allow us to gain nutrients, represent the inner nourishment of fire, and symbolizes the soul need to digest our life experiences for spiritual growth. Speaking of fire, you know what's happening in Wyoming, right? Okay. Fire can create purification for regeneration, such as that seen in a forest after its stimulation simultaneously burns away old growth and stimulates new seeds. What we are doing is not fighting with swords and shields and bullets and this and that. We're using something much more powerful. So powerful that the CIA was actually teaching men how to remote view and how to harm and how to control through psychic energies. This is known. Look it up. So they know. In that sense, it is also the power of ripening, of bringing something from an idea or potential into fruition and fulfillment of innate purpose. On a spiritual level, fire attracts the soul, helping it find its way through darkness and towards warmth and light. The life-enhancing and alchemical properties of fire transform physical materials as well as the subtle body of the soul. What you're burning, my loves, is the parasitical ego. The ego is only here for one thing, to serve the soul. And so far in all of our incarnations, more incarnations than I can speak of, we have been controlled by the false ego, the monkey mind. And boy, did the 1% lavish that. The appearance of Krishna in a reading indicates the tremendous potential for personal transformation and spiritual growth. Shall I say it again? The appearance of Krishna in a reading indicates the tremendous potential for personal transformation and spiritual growth. You wanted a calling? You wanted a mission? Guess what? Your first mission is to help the planet move out of this fuckery into New Earth. 5D. And then the rest will unfold. You may feel like you are struggling, but your soul is actually gaining strength. What you desire may seem so far beyond your current reach, yet the oracle indicates your inner potential for tremendous accomplishment. You can't make this up. How many of you will actually remember this tomorrow, next week, next month, next year? How many? How many will do a 180 from this particular call to arms, spiritual arms, and never regress, never again? The Hindu texts say that Agni exists not only as fire, but as lightning and the sun itself. Lightning is a symbol for sudden illumination that emerges unexpectedly, often in the midst of a tremendous psychological or emotional storm. Wow. I'm reading from a book called, it's not a book, it's an oracle card. It's called Kali Oracle by Alana Fairchild. In that sense, again, Agni is the power to see with clarity. If you've ever seen lightning strike, you know what it looks like. There's a movie, I think it's called Michael, with John Travolta about a man who actually was based on a true story, who was struck by lightning and suddenly, the 15% of the brain that we only use, his entire brain was being used. In other words, he was brilliant, he was psychic, he was telepathic, it was insane. This lightning strike that we're seeing is the injustice, imbalance, cruelty, the genetic manipulation that's being played with, the weather that's being fucked with, the planet that's being fracked, bombs being exploded in the ocean. Just, the regular day-to-day, la 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 la, nothing's going to happen, we're good. Such a powerful and searing insight can be intense enough to uproot a stubborn psychological pattern permanently. This is why this is happening. And what's really fucked up is that so many people had to suffer for our benefit to wake the fuck up. So we can actually stop all this, right? It's almost like being in front of a volcano, the lava stops at your feet. Like literally you're like, I can't outrun this. Fuck this. I'm just going to, but then you stop and you go, no, I'm going to change this. It's going to stop right here. And the actual lava stops at your feet. And you feel the heat of it. And you step back and it's not moving. And you've stopped it. This is one reason why Kali is known as the first of the 7 tongues of Agni, the divine fire, the jolt of her uprising wisdom, the severity of her suddenly bestowed clarity can burn down the house we have built. We better burn down that house. Because the house is run and owned by the 1%. And we want to build our house wherever the fuck we want. Not to pay taxes, not to pay to live. It's funny how many of you as Gen Xers and millennials are asking finally the right questions. And it's unfortunately pissing off boomers. I'm a boomer. But I'm a hippie boomer, as was my twin. Meaning we never bought this shit and we never drank the Kool-Aid. We can no longer sustain a comfortable delusion. Let me say it again. We can no longer sustain a comfortable delusion. Oh, well, it's over there in the Middle East. Oh, it's happening in the Philippines. That's not my problem. Oh, it's happening in South America. Oh, God bless them. We must become honest with ourselves or change our approach to a situation based on the new information available. Did you hear that? The new information available. Plato's Parable of the Cave. Please go check it out. Look that up. Because for Plato to write that, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago, holy fuck. He knew how the human mind could be manipulated. And how fear-filled it was. We're all going to die, my friends. You're not getting out of here alive. So you might as well fucking be a badass. And kick some doors and move the wind and make it still and make the sun come and have one moon. And like I said, if you want the rain, it rains right there in your area. And people go, what the fuck? It's only raining in her area. That's right. She needs rain. She doesn't have the hose. She does that all the time. She does that all the time? Yeah, she does. I don't know. She's a witch. Good. She's a good witch. All right. Wow. You mean you could do that? Yeah, I've been practicing with her. I'm learning how to do that. It's actually easy. We need to get to that thing, that consciousness, my friends. There is a temporary loss to gain greater freedom to grow on all levels. Let me repeat that because this is important. There is a temporary loss to gain greater freedom to grow on all levels. As the sun, Agni represents the light that ends the darkness, yet Kali, the divine mother of dark grace, is the first of the tongues of divine fire. Use your fucking tongues to speak the truth. You know why they're taking this app out. You know why? Because the minute they shut in, and it doesn't matter who you're voting for at this point. Do you understand? We better rise above all that shit. We need to levitate above it and look down and go, yeah, this isn't going to work. This is now dissolved. This is now we're no longer accepting this. I do not consent. I accept the following. My leaders come from a consciousness of the round table. My leaders are not able to be corrupted. My leaders come with wisdoms. They are my shamans, like the Native Americans. It's funny how we've been seeing the demise of various peoples across this planet for centuries. The Native Americans live with fresh water. They hunted buffalo and bear. They took what they needed and no more and no less. They thanked the Great Mother, Grandfather Sky, Grandmother Moon, Father Sun. And there were other tribes of peoples all over the world living like that. That's what your soul has missed. You are homesick for that reality and that truth that you once all lived and experienced. You know this is not the way. This is the key to Kali's mysteries. It differentiates her from the concept of darkness as an evil or obstructive force against our spiritual awakening. Kali leads us into darkness. Did you hear that? Kali leads us into darkness to free us, not to impede us or our progress. She destroys in order to create, not to annihilate. In that sense, her divine darkness is light. There's a mystery of Kali and why we can trust her so implicitly, understanding that sometimes it is only in moving through the darker times that we become aware of what is needed to live with more light. We are walking on broken glass. We are walking barefoot on broken glass and knowing that this is a little road of pain for the greater good. And on the other side is 5D. As a tongue of fire, Kali Krishna consumes all offerings. She has a divine capacity to receive our prayers, our pains, our craziness, and our grateful heroism. She receives it all. She not only receives it, but as fire, she transforms the offering so it can nourish, heal, revitalize, and purify the soul. This is divine feminine alchemy. Kali is a divine alchemist, and because she is a tantric goddess, if we offer her even our most broken and messed up selves, did you get that? With a sense of reverence and humility, she will accept the offering and manifest grace from it. Whatever you believe in, God, Buddha, Krishna, Mohammed, whoever, however, all of them have one thing in common. Many names for the same entity. Many names for the same fractal energies of God, universe, whatever, source. And this divine love that created us as spirit beings and various archangels and so forth, right? Will take us broken, but humbled and in obeisances, saying, I only have this to offer. I want to be a part of the change of this planet, but I am not fully healed. It doesn't matter if you're not fully healed. None of us will ever be fully healed in 3D. The more you excavate, the more shit comes up. The more you excavate, the more shit comes up. It's okay. Stop being a perfectionist as a spiritualist. It doesn't even make sense. There are some things not meant to be healed. It's meant to be forgiven. There is a deeper purpose to making an offering, the opening up of a channel between ourselves and the divine. The divine doesn't need to be cajoled into loving or wanting to help us. It is the human that needs help dragging the mind away from a fixation on what is wrong into the openness and presence that allows for divine grace to flow and for us to receive. While the offering appears to be about what we are giving, it is enabling the capacity to receive. It may seem like offerings are tokenistic, but a true offering is hard to give. What is a true offering? What we're about to do. Every day, the weather is calm. The skies are my allies, and everyone benefits from the skies and its calmness. The sun is always in perfect harmony with what we all need as humans, as animals, as everything. The water is calm, the oceans are calm, the waters are clean, the sky is clean, the clouds move and the clouds disappear, and the sky is blue, and the sun sets in perfect harmony, and the sun rises, and the earth is abundant, and its people are abundant, and there's enough for everyone. It is hard because it requires that we shift our presence, our state of mind and being. The more we do this, the greater the offering. It matters less what the form of our offering is, but more how it affects us internally. The Oracle of Krishna brings the message that whatever you need and desire, you can have. The problem with many of you, you don't even think you deserve it. You don't believe you can do it. And then when it's about to come, its hot breath of success comes to you, you don't fucking believe you deserve it. I'm not healed. I regret. I did this. I did that. I'm not good enough. Well, it's time for you to put that shit aside and do it for the greater good. However, you must be prepared to enter into the sacred fire to make the appropriate offering. When we choose to make the supreme offering of ourselves to Kali, we are fully received and thus activate the flow of grace in our lives for the spiritual benefit of all. Yes, because when you heal, I heal. When I heal, you heal. The Oracle asks you to shift from focusing on what isn't working to immersion into the Divine Mother's heart. All can then be resolved and shall manifest according to her loving grace. It's amazing. And the way you do all that, there's so many steps to doing this, and yet, honestly, all you have to do, to be perfectly blunt, is claim it. I claim the planet in U5D. I am so grateful I live in a planet that is 5D. I am so grateful that we have leaders who are shamans and high priests and who adore us, and everything's a round table type of flow of energy and philosophical goodness for everyone. Do you know there's a mayor in Citrus Heights that left California? Citrus Heights, a mayor literally quit and get the fuck out of here because he felt, well, what they're doing in California is so evil. I just left California. He's not fucking lying. It's fucking evil what they've done to people in the homelessness. I'm giving you contrast between spiritual, high vibrational thinking and 3D fucking collective injustices for a reason. Because I know that when you walk back out on the streets, driving, whatever you're doing, you need to be able to toggle very swiftly between what your eyes see, your mortal eyes see, and what you know is coming. It's actually already here. 5D is already here. We just need to cross those bridges. The portals have opened. The 1% has done what they have done, and they will continue. And if you sink into despair and fear, you are fucked, my friend. And if you actually feel that you don't deserve shit, you are definitely fucked. Now, ascension is not about fear. It's not about feeling like you're not ready. I'm repeating myself because I know that the human brain only absorbs 15% of what anyone says. 1/5. Can you imagine? So you need to do some guided meditations. You need to listen to high frequency music. You need to, if you can't do a 5-minute meditation, then this is an exorcism between your ego, the parasitic ego, aka the monkey mind, and your soul. You better sit your ass down and do 5 minutes. You really think that any of us are fucking having kumbaya 2 hours of silence in our meditations? You really think that we're sitting for 5 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and it is all kumbaya, I am in silence, I'm like in bliss? No, none of us can do that. The monkey mind is constantly attacking our consciousness while some of us, lucky enough, are going to the Galactic Council, meeting those that we love, meeting our guides. And in between that, excuse for coughing, we're getting attacked by our monkey mind. You're not unsuccessful with your meditation, you're just not fucking disciplined. That means you sit your ass down and you don't move until your alarm hits ring. And that's it. That's that. Okay? It's really simple. Why is that important? Because then you'll have direct downloads and signs and actual full dialogues with your team, with your guides or guide, your main guide. And you will see your guide. You will know what it looks like. This is not woohoo shit. This is actually common knowledge to many of us who have walked on this path for decades of our lives, because at some point we looked around going, yeah, this system's not working for me. What is a healing way? What is the healing path? There's an incredible video of monks, and I use that analogy a lot because you guys have to really, really understand how the fucking mind works, okay, what it believes. So you've got the Iceman who's taught people how to go into the water, right? And how to, do ice bath. By the way, I started taking cold showers at the end. It's amazing it's amazing. So let me give you the exact title of this. Let me see if I can find it. It's a title of a video that I need you guys to watch. Hang on, okay? Hang on. I'm going to give you the title because I want you to write it down. Here it is. It's called Yogi's Extreme Cold Weather Endurance, Tibet area. You'll see these men sitting in meditation in the cold. It's called Inner Fire Practice. We have examples again and again and again. There's another meditation where they douse these monks with water in the snow with wet wool blankets, and within less than an hour, the blankets are hot as fuck and they are warm as fuck. I need you to understand how much power you have and how easy, once you get into it, it's going to be for many of you. Does that make sense? Okay. Let me see. Truth. Claim it and feel it. Absolutely. Abuse, outcasted, sacrifice. You know the upset can be changed. New leadership, divine leadership. Yes. Heal daily, never heal. Unconditional love. Yes. Cherokee and Blackfoot in my bloodline. Gotcha. Let it go where it is needed and it will land safely. Yes. Awareness. Let's move it away. We need rain. Redirecting. Yes. Nothing new. I'm in Georgia now near all the WNC devastation, heading up West North Carolina devastation, heading up there soon to help. God bless your soul. Say that again, please. Oh, fuck, I wasn't looking. I never look down until I'm done. Sorry, guys. I don't even know what you meant by that. But I needed this so much. Oh, bless you. Bedtime for me. Absolutely, Jennifer. Very well put. Thank you. So I just need you to trust the process of these devastations. I need you to realize that for many decades, for many hundreds of years, we have been privy to much of the injustices of the 1%. I'll give you an example of the Irish famine in the 1800s, okay? In the Irish famine, there was a man from, I forgot what country, and I hate to say that I forgot because, there's so much information. But he was from the Middle East, okay? That's for sure. There's no doubt. He was from the Middle East. He was a king. And he had found out about the Irish famine. And he wanted to deliver boats, galleons of ships, of food. Queen Victoria was ruling at the time. And he wanted to donate 10,000 pounds in gold to the cause of the Irish famine. And she actually demanded that he lower the amount to 1,000 because that's all she was giving was 1,000. Wrap your head around that one. And when those ships landed on the ports of Ireland, they were confiscated by the British. I'm not joking. Medicine, food, everything. Confiscated. 4 million Irish perished. We did not have the internet, nor did we have papers that could travel. And by the way, the average person really couldn't read with a damn. So we have been incarnated in many of these timelines where we heard about these things through the grapevine, through meeting an Irish person who was now in America, and you were this, that, and the other, and whatever, right? But now that we're actually seeing it, it's being live streamed. Genos, Femin, we've seen the famine, we've seen leaders in that part of the world, in the Middle East, trying to fucking pick fights, massive world war fight. We know what we're talking about. So your ability to actually manifest and to teach others how to do it, because not to scare the fuck out of you, but you know how the French Revolution happened, right? Louis a lot of people don't know this. Louis the 16th was approached by, he was begged by Marquis de Lafayette to fund the American Revolution. The French funded the American Revolution. People don't know this. And they took all the fucking money. Do you see the parallel so far? They're draining our money in this country to fund bullshit like this. Now, let's go back. At least they were trying to build a country, right? Which was the Americas, yes? Okay, fine. We know this. It was to build a new world. Got it. Okay. Meanwhile, that created the French Revolution because there was no fucking money left. None. People were starving. And it was women that started the French Revolution, technically, women. It didn't work, did it? Because it lasted maybe 1 or 2 generations of kumbaya for a minute. It was a minute. I wouldn't even say 2 I'm going to say one. And then we had Napoleon. What the fuck? Barely won. My point to you is this, that they are draining our resources in this country for a dead-end street. It's clearly a dead-end street. By design. And some of the things happening, I want you to really be so smart, because you are smart. You're very smart. I want you to start connecting the dots. And I want you to connect the dots in such a way that the average mind, the 3D bear trap mind of the average consciousness of all people, many, many people, could understand it and have a light bulb moment. That's your job. It's not to get armed. It's not to start acting ridiculous, because we've tried that. We've tried that for thousands of years. We've tried that. It doesn't work. So now we're being asked to be like Shaolin monks, for the lack of a better way of expressing it. Priests, priestesses, shamans, right? Magicians and high priestesses. And we're being asked to do it immediately, because now we have all the data. We know who the problem is. We know the general directions of these problems. We know how to get this done. I'm asking you to watch David Icke's Renegade on Gaia.com. Go watch it. Why? Because the way he was upgraded is magical. Absolutely magical. You can't make this shit up. And it's important you watch it, because then you'll understand how quickly you can get upgraded if you say yes to it, if you surrender to the universe's beautiful wisdom. And then you will finally feel capable of being part and parcel of the massive transformation that is literally in the palm of your hand, in your heart chakra, in your root chakra, in your third eye, in upgrading you with the light codes, calling on. There are 2 ways a phone, your cell phone or your computer gets upgraded. You do it manually, which means you call on the upgraded light codes from power, or it does it while you sleep. It's automatically upgraded. If you want to jumpstart your evolution, call on it. Say, I want to upgrade my light codes from the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th dimensional realm, so I can understand, so I can see, really see, so I can be of service to myself, to those I love, and to the collective. Make it your offering to the universe. Make it your call to arms. Because we are needed. And it's not going to shift itself. The new earth 5D evolution, transformation is not doing it on itself. If you want a cup of tea, you have to get off your ass and put the kettle on and put the tea bag in the cup with the honey, however you like it, because it's not going to just do itself. Right? So until you can be telepathic and move shit around with your mind, which we're getting there, believe it or not, you're going to have to sit, manifest, talk, share videos, and then tie it in with a spiritual understanding. Right? And people are going to have to stop with their dogma, the rhetoric of certain belief systems that were created by men like Emperor Constantine at the Council of Nicaea in 450 AD. And other Abrahamic religions created, let's never forget, that includes the Vedas. I used to say this to my twin, by men who had their own issues. Men and many women who wanted to control the masses. Victoria, Queen Elizabeth, we can all look up at them to some level, but there was reptilian agendas with all of them. And then if any kindness was coming towards a people that were oppressed by the hand of the oppressor, those kindnesses were suppressed, denied, or blocked. You saw that with the Palestinians. You just got to see that in the Appalachian Mountains. Hello? How many times have we seen the news literally say a paragraph replicated all across the country by different news stations? You can't make this shit up. There's a script. There's a plot. It's a play. You either play around and with them as the background, where you're a character actor in the background, or you become a major player by shifting the rules of the game. The mind and the soul is so incredibly powerful that it actually can manifest the dissolution of inoperable cancers. The mind is so powerful and beautiful that it can actually manifest incredible magic. And they have been knowing this, and they have been using it, like I said, again and again against us. So now you have to decide, and you cannot forget what I said. You cannot forget. You can't. So I'm going to give you a list of books. Get your pens ready. Okay? Get your pens ready. The first book is The Untethered Soul. The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. The second book is called Journey of Souls by Michael Newton. In that order. In that fucking order. The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. The Journey of Souls by Michael Newton. The third book, let's do it. The Archangel Guide to Ascension. The Archangel Guide to Ascension by Diana Cooper and Tim Wilde. Why? 55 Steps to the Light. Why? Because it teaches you about all your chakras, the 15 chakras. About gratitude. About building your crystalline body. About the cosmic diamond violet flame. Many of you don't even know the violet flame. You don't work with the violet flame. Many of you have spirit animals that are hybrids or from other planets. I know this because I do Akashic readings, and I've seen them. Hybrid animals, hybrid spirit animals, animals I've never seen here, that are your totem animals, your spirit animals. Don't keep going to what you know and remember in this planet. Many of you have been on many other planets, and you know that. The Untethered Soul and Journey of Souls have helped me so much. What was the last one? The Archangel Guide to Ascension by Diana Cooper and Tim Wilde. Okay. The other book, which I need to set up the altar, it's called Altars of Power and Grace. Altars of Power and Grace. Create the Life You Desire by Robin and Michael Maestro. Mastro. Altars of Power and Grace. Robin, like, a robin. and Michael Mastro. Make them exactly how they say. It's based on Vastu Shastra, altars that were handed down to us by other beings, because altars fucking work. The Romans had altars, the Greeks had altars, the Egyptians had altars. Who the fuck are we to say this doesn't work? Hello? The Druids had altars. We've always have altars. Okay? The limitations of our minds and the arrogant has depleted our energies of power as wizards, as magicians, as high priestesses, and so forth, shamans. So altars, and I know for a fact it works. And you can have multiple altars. So one of the altars that I have, just so you know, I'm going to share, is the altar of abundance. No kidding. But the other altar that now I'm going to put up, because we fucking need it, it's going to be the altar, hang on, let me say, global peace. I need it. You need it. Global peace. So I have a house. I can put the altar of global peace in one of the sections of the house, right? I had 4 altars running at once in a cottage that was 300 square feet. 4 altars. So it's not about space, my friends. It's about desire. And the altar of peace, because we fucking need it really, really bad, because this is not going to work, right? At all. I'm going to give you some of the components, but I need you to buy the book. Get on thrift books, get on eBay, find the damn book, find it. I'm going to read it to you what it says on the opening page. It says, "We gathered to pray for peace. 30 women and men, old friends, and you came together at our home in Seattle to focus on a shared intention. For the occasion, everyone brought an object that held personal meaning to place on the altar. It was April 30th and the moon was full. On this evening, in many Eastern countries, the festival of Vesak, in celebration of a commemorative Buddha's birthday. Some believe it is in the anniversary of a legendary meeting of Christ and Buddha in a hidden Himalayan valley, and consider it a very auspicious time to connect with powerful spiritual energies." Well, the problem with that line is that Buddha was born about 500-600 years before Yeshua, Jesus, just on the side note. However, they might have met, okay, let's not forget the 3 wise men. They might have met before Christ took his incarnation as the Christ we know. That could have happened. The day before the gathering, we built a 3-tiered altar of wood in the open space under the central skylight in the living room. In a house designed according to Vastu principles, this location is called the Brahma Shastra, or center of awareness. It is the central point of the Vedic home where energy collects and comes into the house as blessings. We covered the altar with a white cloth. On the top tier, we place an empty bowl to represent the space elements to collect grace. At 4 corners, we place items to signify the 4 directions: earth, fire, and water. On the second tier, we place figures of Buddha and Christ along with candles and flowers. On the bottom tier, we arrange our pantheon of Hindu gods and goddesses and reserve space for guests to place their items. As guests arrive, we enjoyed a buffet dinner and spent an hour arranging and rearranging the ever-changing altar to achieve a sense of balance and harmony. Everyone got into the spirit of the evening and contributed their ideas as well as their sacred objects. The end product turned out to be a remarkable assemblage of statues and pictures from spiritual tradition worldwide arranged on the 3rd tier, and on the floor beneath it, angels stood next to Krishna and Lakshmi. Well-known Hindu deities and a laughing Buddha were placed around the corner from Mother Teresa. Guests arranged statues of Kuan Yin, the Chinese goddess of compassion, Saint Joseph, the protector of families, and Our Lady of Guadalupe, who brought a message of peace to beleaguered Mexican Indians after the Spanish conquest. Hanuman, the Hindu monkey god who protects against injury and helps in time of sorrow, peered out over a ceremonial Native American flute. Do you get what this is? It is a representation of everything we have prayed to in all of our incarnations. Do you get what this says? It is you creating an altar that you create that embodies everything. There's no shame. There's no, well, I can't do that because that would disrespect that. No. All of it, all of you, all of what you can remember. And have your children involved. After dinner, we lit the candles and incense, turned down the lights, and joined hands in a circle around our altar to quietly meditate. Then each of us told why our offering symbolized peace. Kathleen brought a picture of the Wheel of Time, mandala, the Dalai Lama's personal peace symbol that Tibetan monks recreate as a sand painting when peace is threatened. Christy placed a picture on the altar of her mother, the family peacemaker, in a small heart-shaped frame. Joanne brought a tiny cuttlefish egg sack symbolizing the precious fragility of life. Several participants brought flowers, roses, because we are all flowers in God's hearts. 2 Asian lilies on one stalk to signify the basic oneness of all humanity. Shelley brought a lush bouquet of white tulips with 4 sparklers inserted to remind us that humor is important, even in times of chaos. And Eric brought 3 enormous artichokes that symbolize thorn problems we go through before we find the beauty of the heart of things. Do you see how simple this is? Several people had contributed beautiful rocks from ashrams, churches, and other holy places where they had felt peaceful. Others brought photos of spiritual teachers who taught them to seek serenity. Jane added a lovely ceramic urn filled with spring water, which symbolized clarity for her. Shelley brought a traditional crystal barrel carved by Native Americans to invoke the helpful power of the spirit world. Remy contributed a hand-painted gourd, a gift from a friend who wanted only to share his generous spirit. As we listened to one another, our hearts seemed to merge, and our spirits were uplifted in delight. We all laughed the laugh of recognition when Michael, who had built the basic altar from scrap lumber he'd found along the roadside, mentioned that focus and intention made the difference between seeing junk and realizing possibilities. The offering in an altar can be very humbling. A rock, a crystal, a plant, a pine cone, right? Fibonacci. It could be anything. It could be everything. Water, air, symbolized by feathers. So it's really up to you what you want to create. What does peace look like to you? What are the symbols to that peace? And bring all these items and create your altar. And just make it happen. Have a peace sign, a smiley face, a picture of people laughing, an angel, or many angels, whatever, however. Exactly. Archangel Michael, please protect my family. Okay? So this is an important book that you guys should have. And I think the last thing I'm going to do is share with you a crystal mandala. And if you want me to do a guided meditation on the storms, and we're looking at 2 hurricanes now. We're looking at Hurricane Kirk hitting Portugal. Already 300,000 people have no power. And no power, nothing. It's hitting Spain and it's hitting France. Are these the countries that were against the Geno in the Middle East? I wonder. So I want you to go ahead and pick yes, and one right after. I want you to go and pick top, bottom, and middle and this is from, again, Alana Fairchild, Crystal Mandala Oracle. We're going to see what comes through with that. So pick top, bottom, and middle. And let's go. Let's continue. Middle, okay? Top, bottom, and middle. Anyone else? Top, bottom, and middle. Okay, perfect. I'm going to go with the middle. Oh, Jesus. I pulled out 2 by mistake, but I'm just going to keep them. Okay, the first one is 50, Goddess. Now, the number 50 came up before. In other words, the number 5, because we had 41 before. Just pay attention to the numbers because it's interesting. So 5, again, comes back to the concept of Mercury and the gift of the tongue. We talked about the tongue with Krishna, the card I pulled out from the Kali Oracle deck. So what's happening here is we're being told to fucking talk. Talk to our spirit guides, talk to the universe, talk to other people, get them to have light bulb moments, talk. Create content not for your leaders, these toxic leaders. You're creating content and you're speaking out for people who are in despair, who've lost their way, who don't know, I'm going to be blunt, I'm sorry, they don't know how to pray because they don't know how to manifest. In these conditions, you don't pray sobbing and begging for help. You ask God, give me the permission to manifest this for the good of all. And then do it. Just do it. Do you see the difference? Okay, this is going to blow your mind. I hope you understand what this is. It's 50. It's called Goddess Persephone. Now, you know the story of Persephone, right? Persephone represents spring, and she also represents death. Death is transformation. It's intense transformation. Okay? You just ask. How do I contact my spirit guide? You go into meditation, you just ask. That's it. You just ask and you shall receive. It's interesting how we listen to these people, these scriptures or Buddha or Krishna. We listen to them, but we don't really listen to them. We hear, but we don't hear. We see, but we don't see. You ask. It's simple. And then your monkey mind will rebel. And your fight in the beginning will be to control your monkey mind. That's it. Okay? So it's Goddess Persephone and Ruby. The stone is Ruby. It's called the Inner Queen. And it's Crystal Goddess 888. Okay? Crystal Goddess 888. Yeah, absolutely. I think what's happening here is that so many supposed spiritual leaders act like they know all this shit. Like you don't know shit. Like you're a 3-year-old that's just learning how to talk. Hello? That's not how it is. That's really toxic shit. There are wonderful channelers. I did a whole video on discernment and channeling because you guys need to understand it. How to discern. But there are a lot of people who are psychic, but that doesn't mean they know what the fuck they're talking about. There are people channeling reptilians, and there are people channeling archangels and 23rd dimension beings and 28th dimension beings that are really want the best for us. But don't think that channeling means you're channeling the right shit. Like, be discerning. Some channelers are channeling reptilian energies. Negative Anunnaki energies. Because not all Anunnaki are negative, by the way. Okay? And we just need to understand that. So the first card, again, is 50, Goddess Persephone, and Ruby is the stone. The second card is 3. It's Archangel Aniel and pink calcite, acceptance. And the number is 444. So I'm going to read this to you. And hang on for a quick second. Let me make sure I don't just suddenly lose battery. I just realized I'm... Okay, and then let me get to the light. And let's talk. Let me read this to you. Okay? So, the inner queen. We bring you the empowerment of the inner queen. The inner queen exercises authority through divine feminine wisdom. Her empowerment is active within men and women that consciously seek to honor feelings, instincts, and intuition, and choose to live their lives according to a moral code of compassion. Did you hear that? A moral code of compassion. That means compassion for everyone. Not compassion for this race over that race, that religion over that religion, this culture over that culture. It's a moral code of compassion, which means everyone, every single one. When the inner queen stirs within, judgment is replaced with empathy, for you are suffering and that of others. You understand that human beings who cannot resolve their suffering will unconsciously act out their pain in the world. They are unconsciously expressing their inner story with their outer actions, the story of their inner pain. The healing power of the inner queen brings inner pain to consciousness where it can finally be released and the soul freed. This can happen because of her compassion. She does not approach life with a fearful or judging nature, so she can move freely through all realms, witness great pains and darkness, and remain centered in her heart, shining a gentle light of intention for the liberation from a suffering for all beings. She reminds us of our innate divine dignity and the healing power of our compassion. The oracle of the inner queen comes to you as a reminder that your compassion for yourself and for others is your source of power. It gives you the ability to be moved by another's plight without taking on their suffering as your own, which would drain you and prevent you from being able to hold the gentle light of awareness for the person who needs it to heal. I'm going to say bullshit. I'll tell you why. Bullshit, because when Archangel Michael sees our pain, for example, what erupts out of him is righteous rage. Not objectiveness, righteous rage. Why is that important? Because it propels you into action and urgency. Urgency, my friend. This is not a walk in the park. This is not a walk through a ward of a hospital where everyone's in bed and we're just shining our light of goodness. Sometimes some of these oracle read, I don't agree. I can't agree. Will I say that it will drain you? Yes, it will. Why? Well, your job is to replenish. Why will I say that? Because if you're really in it and you're a human being and your soul is incredibly filled with light and compassion and generosity, you can't do it half-assed. You're going to be all in. And that's okay. Because right now, with what's happening, we need you all in. So what happens is that sometimes you need to step back for 2 or 3 days and replenish. And then come back in the fray. Okay? Some of you have other duties, and it will be guided to you when you connect with your guides. They will tell you, understand the difference between corrupted downloads and clear downloads. And I have videos on that, so you can check it out. All right, let me continue. So far, not agreeing with her. Her presence empowers you to care for the world without becoming distraught and fatigued. I'm going to stop here. Becoming distraught. The distraught is an interesting word because it means that, and it is a good word. She's using a very good word here. I'll explain. I'll break it down because I need to. Distraught is a word that means despair, drained, done. I don't know what to do. So that's correct. You don't be distraught. You know exactly what to do. You know exactly what you want. You know exactly what you fucking don't want. You don't want this, but you want the new earth. And you're fine. That's it. It's simple. What is the line, the path from this fuckery to the new earth? It's a straight line. There's no fucking winding roads here. It's just you keep wanting and desiring and intending and accepting the new earth. That's it. It's that simple. Compassion leaves you energized and motivated to work towards your sacred purpose in life or of caring for the world in your own unique and creative way. Your compassion for the world will affirm your dignity and empower you to stay true to your own reality while respecting the experiences of others. Respecting the experiences of others. Well, here we go. I got to step back. Why am I stepping back? Because respecting the experiences of others. Let me explain to you something about free will that's really important, and that the New Age community has really lost they lost the plot a long time ago. And I'm going to give you a very simple exercise. When we see an animal suffering, and we watch the cameraman just rolling, and we're like, I don't understand, why is the fucking cameraman? Fate has brought them in front of this animal suffering. Fucking help the animal. When we see a person being beaten up and everyone's got their cameras on, we're like going, what the fuck are you filming this shit for? Stop the beating of this person. Can we all understand and agree that's fucked up? Now, a spiritualist, a New Ager could say, well, we have to respect the experiences of a person. Rejecting the fact that your ass is in front of this, watching it go down, and you have free will to either stop it or allow it. Free will. This is not a spiritual experiment, actually. It's really simple. Do you have the kahunas to help, or are you a coward and you're just going to film? Right? Well, some people get hurt. That's right. some people do get hurt. And guess what happens to the survivors who did nothing? They have a very hard time. They have what they call survivor's guilt. I could have done something. Why didn't I do something? Why, I hate myself. Why was I a coward? I should have helped. Living with that shit is far worse than not. I'm just going to say straight up. So you have to make a decision. We're not going to survive this. And all of us have an expiration date. And while you're here, do the best you can to co-create something magnificent for you, the people you love, and the entire planet. Number one. Number two, know that you're not going to survive this. So make sure that you fucking do it on your feet with shamanistic power, not on your hands and knees like a dog. Compliant, slapped around. What's interesting about righteous rage is it doesn't deplete you. And righteous rage turns into transcendental acceptance, going, this is when you accept. You accept. But while injustice is happening and you see it, you don't just sit back and switch the channel. That's bullshit. And that's cowardly. And that's very much promoted in the New Age community. Oh, I just don't want to, I've got to protect my energy. Protect what energy, girl? What do you mean protect your energy? From what? Well, I don't want it to deplete my energy. I want to protect my energy. Then why the fuck are you walking in a spiritual path? Do you think Yeshua did that? Do you think Mary Magdalene did that? Did any of these high avatars do that? Did they protect their energy? Or did they fight like hell to overturn injustice? We better become shamans. Because this isn't working. This, it's just, I just really. Now, do I agree that sometimes you got to pull back to replenish your heart, your root chakra, and sage yourself, and sometimes sleep? Fuck, I did it actually this weekend. I slept a lot, because this shit was just. But then here I am back. And that's your job, to know when you need to actually physically replenish, do some yoga, do some pranayama, fucking do nothing, watch a stupid movie, laugh your ass off, and then get back in the fray. Until we turn this around, there is no rest. And there is no rest for the wicked, because they're fucking showing themselves like you wouldn't believe. They're pulling out all the stops. They're hoping that the egregore of fear that they are trying to co-create with nefarious souls, energies, will overcome our abilities to cross the bridges to the new earth. They fucking are banking on the egregores they've created for centuries. The funny thing is they didn't expect us to come in. Do you know many of us when we were children, this is on a side note, I'm being told to share that with you. Many of us would have flying dreams. I don't know if you guys remember those for yourselves. You may not, I don't know. But do you know that many of us saw men in black that were chasing us while we flew as children? We were having these incredible journeys in other dimensions. And we would see men in black. And I searched it all through. No, it's not a fucking movie. It was really these weird, shadowy specters all dressed in black, chasing us. And I've talked to many people over the years because I was puzzled by it. I thought it was a particular... And then I started putting two and two together because, we all can connect the dots, right? And I went, holy fuck, they knew us soul. We were coming in as powerful souls in the forms of children, obviously. And they knew that they would start working on us being afraid of nothing. They wanted to create fear in us. Isn't that interesting? And I'm being told to tell you a dream. So one of my last flying dreams that I remember, I'm about 20 or whatever. And it's just incredible colors, like Technicolor, right? And suddenly I'm in an elevator with a 12-year-old, blue-eyed, blonde-haired child. The most beautiful, beautiful, beautiful human I'd ever seen. But it was a devil, a demon. And the lesson, and I woke up with the lesson. It was immediate. The lesson was shown to me. Do not think that because someone's beautiful, they have light and goodness and God in their hearts. Sometimes they come in the most beautiful ways. And again, that's not biblical. That's just evil and good. There's nothing Bible here. There's nothing of any religion here. It's about us thinking that what is beautiful is good, and what is ugly to our, to the way we define ugly is ugly. And that means that they must be an ugly soul, and that maybe they deserve the karma to be disabled or disfigured or whatever. And that's not true at all, at all. So now we have to learn as a people to see with transcendental eyes. People. That means you have to look in people's eyes. You have to connect when you talk to them, when you walk on the streets. Feel their energy. Look in their eyes. What do you see? And trust what you see. People always say, well, the eyes are the mirror of the soul. Yeah, but can you read it? It's one thing to say it. It's like saying, oh, that's Aramaic. Yes, but can you read Aramaic? I bet you can't. So that's what I'm saying. Learn how to read people. So though I love Alana Fairchild, I'm reading this shit right now in this particular card about, just protect your energy. Just, don't get involved. Have your human... In this particular card about, just protect your energy. Just, don't get involved. Have your human experience. Have your human experiences. But see where we're at now? Do you see where we're at? We wouldn't be at this point in the planet if this method, New Age concept, was working. So when you see someone harmed, you help. When you see someone thirsty, you give them water. When you see someone being beaten, you fucking stop it. Immediately. And yeah, you use your phone to take photos of the license plate, this, that, and the other, and you call the cops and you start yelling like a MFer. Yell. People are shocked because people have become complacent, lobotomized. Quite literally, their spiritual compass is non-existent. And that's a problem. So let me just say, so the first card is 50, Goddess Persephone. Anything else that's good? The inner queen also brings you guidance to honor what you need to do with your life. You are your sovereignty being, and honoring your spiritual truth is how you act as the guardian of your soul. The guardian of your soul and the guardians of many souls. We better start adopting the entire universe as our own children. Because this shit's not working. Okay? Second card, Archangel Anael. I'm just going to jump to it. I have to go, actually. I just realized I have a reading for a client. I'm like, fuck. And I got to keep it because she's in Australia and I cannot mess up the timeline. So, Archangel Anael and pink calcite. It says, we bring you the gift of acceptance rather than encouraging a situation to remain the same. The gift of acceptance empowers you to move through an experience, uncovering the opportunity for personal growth and spiritual development that may be at first hidden behind a challenging set of circumstances. Resistance prevents you from being able to see the truth and grow through the opportunities that life brings to you. Acceptance is necessary for you to be present rather than in resistance. Resistance means denying the shit show that we're watching. When you are present, you can see what is happening more realistically and you become able to respond to it with awareness. Then you shall grow and obtain more power and wisdom through that process, while you also become capable of receiving the divine assistance that will come to help you through any difficulty. Even if a situation seems challenging, your acceptance is the key to transforming. It brings relief to your heart. It empowers you to take the step forward on your spiritual path that life is presenting to you. Through that step, new opportunities will arise. when you trust that no matter what appears to be, it is safe to trust that life is supporting you to manifest your divine potential. Acceptance becomes easier and feels more natural and more joyful. Yeah. And again, I think now it's time for us to stop trying to constantly manifest what we need for ourselves personally. And I'm not joking. For the rest of the year, we really need to. I'm not saying stop asking for what you desire, but look at the logic. All of your problems would be gone if half the shit was no longer as it is. The infrastructure is what's causing you pain. Many of you need more money because there's not enough money, or else you wouldn't need more money. Abundance for all means abundance for all. Does that make sense? There's logic here. So when you ask for, because what's interesting is that many of us who are walking towards 5D want the same things. I swear to you. You may want a different colored dress or different type of home, cottage, whatever, or different type of whatever, right? But ultimately, we all want to be free to thrive and to see our children thrive and to see our children move into their passions with liberty. You know what I mean? So it's not a bad thing to start analyzing this and to start manifesting everything for everyone. True system failure. Actually, absolutely. Thank you, wise teacher. I already do. Her voice and vibration brought me here. Oh, wow. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, you started following. Wow, Star. And then Kate Brown. Okay, thank you for following me. I appreciate it. So I'm going to have to unfortunately jam, but I wanted to thank you again. The whole live will be uploaded on my YouTube page, Sacred Intimacy Tarot. I can't talk. And then also you can actually look on my link tree, and there's a direct link to my YouTube channel. You can go right there. And I want to thank you. I want you to know that everything I've said, you may want to listen to it again. I'm not just saying that to say that. I'm saying you may want to listen to it one more time. You may want to send it to, like in your case, start to your son if he still has a power. He needs to manifest himself walking and talking and laughing with you. You guys need to just co-create this. Miracles are about to become very abundant once we all do this together and individually. Okay? All right, my loves. I want to send you so much love and so much power. And the main battle right now is your ego, the parasitical false ego, the monkey mind. And your next is the 1%, the egregores. We're actually creating our own egregore, and maybe more than one, and which is good. And I want you to, I've given you a list of 3 books that are very important for your journey. And I think we're good to go. All right. Thank you so much. Send you so much love on your journey. Namaste. Be well.